All right, we're pleased here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on ESPN Radio 94.1 to be joined by the head football coach of the Region 5B champion Maury Commodores, playing in the state championship against the Highland Springs Springers today at Old Dominion University. Coach Dyrri McCain. Coach, congrats on a great season thus far. Got to be excited about this opportunity to go win a state championship, huh?
Yeah, it feels good just to be back at this stage again. And, it's just kind of one of those, same teams keep ended up at each other. If it's not us, then it's Highland Springs. If it's not them, then it's Stonebridge. And so just glad to be in the mix. And kids been working hard. Coach has been working hard all year. So it's an exciting time, and we're excited about the matchup on Saturday.
Sure. Before we get to this matchup, tell me about grinding it out against Green Run, 21-14. Your defense played terrific. I know you had some guys get dinged up in that matchup, but certainly it was a matter of the toughness and the grit from your group and what you guys displayed out there. What do you think you sort of showed the people that you all as coaches sort of knew going in?
I mean, that we're consistent. We continue to, play at that level and that stage, and, there's pretty much no let up. And, every year is going to be a different team. And, you hear it all the time about not having Lambert or not having Beasley or Varner or Amarion Granger or whoever, Saquon Miles. But, I don't think that people put enough focus into, the kids that work hard that end up carrying the tradition on, the Devontae Floyds, the Mario Millers, Peyton Jones, Nathaniel Knox, and those guys, Isaiah Whitehurst. So, it just shows the consistency of the program, being able to sustain and be there every year in and year out. And now it's really about, which classes want to, be the classes that finish at this point.
A lot was made about Kevin White, the quarterback, for them getting hurt. He came back in. Your defense sort of kept him in check for most of the day, but your star running back went down in that game. Peyton Jones, 9 carries, 45 yards, and a touchdown before he went out. The Duke commit, an All-American. Tell me how you guys were able to do it without Peyton and what his status is going in right now for this game coming up.
So, I think the one of the ways that we did it without Peyton was even when he did go down, he did a good job of showing leadership and encouraging the guys. And of course, he was upset about being out. You want those type of kids who are upset about being out, as did Kevin White on the other side. You got to show props to that kid for being hurt, but showing toughness by coming back in the game and trying to finish it for his team. But for us, Peyton encouraged the guys. Melvin Lowe did a good job of coming in and carrying the load for him. And Melvin's been doing that all year. And other guys just stepped up. Like Kendall Daniels, who we've pretty much known about his staff, but he's starting to come on the scene around the area. And, a couple other guys. Ike played very well. Our D-line played very well. Our defense as a whole played very well. We, that receiving core and that offense, they make a lot of explosive plays, 30-plus yard throws and 50-yard throws. And we were able to, negate that, which gave us a chance. And offensively, we were able to, control the game enough. And, just a bunch of people play well offensively. And it was definitely a team effort. You got Melvin, Devontae Floyd did a little bit, Kendall Daniels did a little bit, Mario Mill did a little bit. So it was just a great team effort on offense and great defensive job by the defensive staff.
Yeah, for sure. And your DC there, Mike Privet, who was a great linebacker himself, and 2 youngsters leading the way there for you with Nathaniel Knox out because of his injury from linebacker after an all-state season, with Daniels being a sophomore, had a couple picks, getting some offers now this week, and Ike Simmons, a linebacker who I'll get to in a minute, leading you in tackles. But on Jones, is it a TB determined here? Or is it out? He's in? Is it going to be how he goes in warm-ups? What's sort of the status with him? And it's an ankle that got tweaked, right?
Yeah, it's nothing too serious, and I'm always the guy who, I will never be a guy that is, way too selfish to just win a game. So, he could have came back in the game on Saturday, but it's just we got bigger and better things to worry about than that game, and he has a career to look forward to and all that type of stuff. So, just trying to use him. We were able to get it done with other guys, so that just speaks volume to the program. So he could have came back in the game. We could have played him, but we just held him out. We just felt like it was best. And like I said, we love taking care of our kids and their careers. So that was a decision that we made as a staff, and we felt like it was best to just keep him out. So, he'll be ready to go. He should be ready to go, and, we'll see what happens Saturday.
Good deal. We're chatting with Dyrri McCain, head football coach of the Maury Commodores, getting you set for today's state championship at Old Dominion University. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on ESPN Radio 94.1. And, Coach, you mentioned Ike Simmons, 81 tackles this year, 22 for loss, 8 sacks. I know it's not him by himself, but when Knox goes out before the season, a lot of programs could have said, all right, that's it for us getting to this point because he's the heartbeat, emotional leader. We see how much he means to your guys. He's on the sideline. You're wearing his jersey. But speak on what Simmons and others have done on that side of the ball to elevate their play and sort of next man up mentality for this group to be here playing in this game.
I think that's again, I've said it all year with Nathaniel Knox going down. I think that, people hear about the Floyds and the Peyton Jones and all that type of stuff, but that was a huge blow for us losing him. More than just play, but just leadership-wise, emotion, what he brings to the table. So the other guys that have stepped up, I think that's what type of program we've been for a while now. I mean, we played some games, some battles where we had some games where we didn't have Mario, where we didn't have Peyton, where we didn't have Devontae Floyd. So that's just always been the program. And the fact that when guys get their opportunity to step in and the number's called, they got to show up, or somebody else will. So Dylan and Ike have been doing a great job replacing Nathaniel Knox, and bless Mac and all those guys up front, Marquavius and Nasir, who also got hurt during the latter part of the year. Those guys have been doing a great job just stepping in and stepping up to the challenge. Our secondary is phenomenal. When you talk about Devontae Floyd and Levante Bond, who probably two of the best pair of corners tandem around, and then you had you got a guy like Kendall Daniels back there with his playmaking ability and his IQ. So sky's the limit, and it won't stop there. I mean, we got a game to worry about Saturday, and we like what we have in the future and moving forward. So it should be a fun, exciting game Saturday, and then we look to be there again the following year. So we're looking forward to a good matchup.
Yeah, it's getting to a point where you guys have it on your schedule and expect to be there, no doubt about it. When you look at this Highland Springs team, and when I see them, I see a lot of talent, which is always the case under Coach Lauren Johnson. He's got a linebacker going to Virginia Tech and Darius Taylor, an athlete in Taki Heath going to Virginia Tech. His son, Berlin Johnson, had 2 picks in the state semis versus Stonebridge. He's going to Virginia Tech. Adian going to UVA, and Miles Green. And their running back in his Foster Powell's got over 1,100 yards and 15 TDs. But the thing that jumps out at me is just how much their quarterback has developed this year in Christian Martin, a junior with 29 touchdowns versus 1 intercept. How about you? When you see them, what stands out to you about them on film?
I mean, honestly, I think that I see a lot of us in their film, and not necessarily like the X's and O's part about this type of offense or this type of defense. I think you got 2 sound defenses. I think you have 2 guys offensively who know what they want to do. They understand their identity and what they want to do. 2 great staffs, teams with good athletes, and teams that aren't going to be afraid of each other. I don't expect them to come down here and be afraid of us, and we're not afraid of any opponents. So that's what I see on film. X's and O's is what it is, but they're a well-coached team. Much respect to them. They, I've been doing it for a while. We've only been at it for 5 years now. So as consistent as we've been and kind of being at this stage, we're still fairly new. So it's hard to kind of say that, but on film, I mean, just like anything, you don't make it to this stage, if you're not good at doing something, or if your team is not good on all phases, and you don't have a good staff and all that type of stuff. So it's gonna be a good matchup, and I expect them to come play their best and bring their 804 people and crowd, and it should be a fun one.
As a follow-up to that, you've played them a couple times before in the state playoffs. No, didn't go the way you had hoped. You also have been in the state championship game. Won one against Stonebridge a few years ago at Hampton, lost a tough one on the final play versus Stonebridge. How much do you reference some of those championship games in recent meetings with Highland Springs, A, and B, how different, similar is this current 2022 Highland Springs team to those teams you've faced in the state championship or those other Highland Springs teams you've faced before in the state playoffs?
So I would say, I think it's just like us, and I think that they, probably, I think any good team takes this same approach. I mean, you let people tell it, and they want to compare, each team, and they want me to make this team the Lambert and Beasley team, and they probably want Coach Johnson to make this team, the Dortch and Wallace team, but I think they do a good job, just like we do a good job. Is every team is going to be different. There's going to be different quarterbacks, different O-line, different D-line, linebackers. So I would say as far as the staff has been very consistent with them, over the years and the amount of times we've played each other. And, I think the only difference really is maybe, that where the two programs are now from back then, even when I was at Norview. But just where the two programs are at now in this stage, that's probably different. And also, just the type of players. I mean, you're talking about us having, the Lamberts, the Sheridan Jones, the Beasleys, the Varners, and, he's had guys like Becton, I think, and the guys that I've coached against, Greg Dortch, and Kayvon Wallace and those guys. So it's just different names that's coming through the program. But, the staff is consistent. They're a good staff. They do what they do well. They're disciplined. I think that we're a good staff, very disciplined football team, and it's the jerseys and the kids are the things that change. That's probably it, if I had to say anything.
Well, mirror images in a lot of ways. Some all-region, all-state performers with championship history and pedigrees, these staffs and players and even guys that have gone on to play on Saturdays and some even the case on Sundays in the NFL. I'll get you out on this one. We're talking with Dyrri McCain, head football coach. The Maury Commodores going for a state championship against the Highland Springs Springers at ODU. It's ESPN Radio 94.1 and 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Coach, as you look at the game, what it boils down to, a lot of these can come down to a play here, an inch there. I almost go back to the Any Given Sunday movie, that line where Al Pacino says, whoever gets that inch, you know what I'm talking about, that line. But what's it going to come down to if it goes down to that? You were in that spot a year ago. Does that, you think, give you an advantage being in that moment a year ago, or does that get thrown out the window when you line up and it comes down to fourth down, you've got the ball, they got the ball, and this is going to decide the state championship potentially?
Well, I think that just with anything, I think that I think one thing that you can't take away, and I've always said this, is a team that understands winning, that knows how to win, and that's been in those moments. You can't exclude that. And they've been doing it, and we also have been too. And that situation or the way the game played out last year, yes, I mean nobody wants to feel like that, but also for them, I mean they lost the game to get there. So I'm pretty sure that they, pretty much learned from that also. So I think it's two teams that learn from losses. And again, we're here at this stage again, both of us. So, we've had to learn something. And if it comes down to that, it's just going to come down to, who wants it more and, who really took that pain in the off season or really learn from it, really. Not to say take too much pain to it, but really learn from those situations and what you could have did better in those games or in those situations. So, if it came down to that, I think it's two teams that will be prepared. I know we will, and I'm pretty sure that they will too.
Should be a fun with the Commodores of Maury High School and the Springers of Highland Springs for the Class 5 state championship at Old Dominion. Dyrri McCain, thank you so much. All the best. I know 757's looking forward to it and rooting you guys on, and we'll talk again soon.
All right, thanks, Matt.
You got it. That's Coach Dyrri McCain of the Maury Commodores seeking another state championship. It's 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on ESPN Radio 94.1.